Hi, and welcome to your Motorcycle Exhaust Guide. In this section, we are looking at a couple installation tips. So obviously your best guide for installation is going to be the instruction manual that came with that motorcycle exhaust itself. So keep a close eye on that. But having said that, we do have a couple trade tips for you. First off, before you even start the installation, you should go through the entire contents of the package, make sure that you have all the pieces and that none of them are damaged. Because if that's the case, you can send it back to us. We'll get you another one for free, no problem. If you start putting the motorcycle exhaust on your motorcycle and installing it before you realize that one of the pieces is dinged or something, then you may not be able to return it, and that would be a huge bummer. The other thing before you even start installation is you should make sure you have a couple things handy. One of them would be some high temperature silicone sealant. This is great on the connection points as it's going to help you ensure a really good seal. The other thing is going to be some header gaskets. There are stock gaskets on your motorcycle, but if you're installing a full system, when you take the exhaust off, you're often going to damage those in removing the stock exhaust. So we recommend having some new header gaskets ready when you put that aftermarket motorcycle exhaust on there. Now, when you go to actually remove the stock exhaust itself, you should keep everything in really good shape if you can. The reason for that is because you're going to reuse some of the parts. Some of the clamps or some of the hardware are frequently reused. And even if you don't have to reuse them, you're going to want to keep that whole stock exhaust in good shape anyway for a couple reasons that I've detailed below this video. Let me just say that you may need it again at some point. When you go to actually install the new exhaust, you shouldn't need any grease. The pipes should go together without it. If they don't, you probably have some metal burrs on the pipe, which are left over from the cutting in the manufacturing process. And if that's the case, you can just file those off, and then those pipes should be able to slide together without any grease in there. You're gonna wanna put the whole thing together loosely at first, install it on your bike, but make all the connections points really loose. And then you're gonna wanna study it. You're gonna wanna ask yourself, well, is this exhaust touching any plastic that could melt? Is it blowing hot fumes on my passenger's foot or something like that? Once you've answered all these questions, then you can go around and tighten all those clamps, get that exhaust installed on there. But you're gonna wanna tighten the clamps with a torque wrench. The instruction manual should say how tight you can do it, and that's really important because if you have this fancy new carbon fiber exhaust, if you over tighten the clamp, you can actually crack it before you even get to use the thing, which would really suck. When you actually have the exhaust on there, you're gonna wanna test it, but before you turn that bike on, there's a couple things you should do. One, if you put silicone sealant inside the connection points, you're gonna wanna allow the entire setting time before you start the bike. Otherwise, the exhaust will get hot and all that sealant's just gonna melt out of there. The other thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna wipe down your entire exhaust system. Odds are you left some greasy fingerprints on there during the installation, and if you leave those on there as the exhaust heats up, then they can actually permanently discolor the finish of your motorcycle, which also would really suck. When you actually do start that motorcycle with the new exhaust on there, you may notice some smoke coming out of it for the first little while. That's okay, there's probably some manufacturing oils in the exhaust, and it'll take a while for those to burn off. When you do go on that first ride, there's a couple of things you may notice. You could notice a lot of deceleration popping. You could notice an abnormal amount of backfires, a whooshing noise, or even some black discoloration on the bodywork of your motorcycle or on your leg. These are all signs of an exhaust leak. So somewhere along the connection points that you just put together, it's probably leaking. You should find that leaking point, tighten the clamps if you can, or use some high temperature silicone sealant there to stop up that leak. The last thing I'm gonna say is that for the first few weeks, you should keep an eye on all of your bolts, all your clamps, because as that bike vibrates as you're riding, some of them may loosen up over the first little while. So you just have to be vigilant in tightening them over the first few weeks, and then after that, you should be good to go. That's it for our installation tips. Again, keep a close eye on your instruction manual. That's gonna be your best guide for all this stuff. And you can always call us at customer service if you need any help because we love to hear from you guys. That's it for this section. We have a couple more coming up, but for this far, thank you for watching.